Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. Well, want to talk about anything, or do you want to do an IFS session, or?
Wait. IFS session sounds great. I feel like that. Wait, what do you mean? Talk about something that's not IFS?
Oh yeah, I mean, just if you had anything else, especially some people just like to chat before starting. Other people, like I said, if you're just waking up, I'm not trying to be all right, what do you think? We don't have to,
that's fair.
And we don't ever have to do a session, right? If you don't, I just want you to know that.
I don't know. It's weird to hear. I feel like that was kind of the entire point, but
it is. But it is the point. But that doesn't mean you have to do it. You can decide what's right for you in the moment. It's not gonna hurt my feelings.
That's I don't know. That's the last thing I would expect to hear from a podcaster.
Huh. Well, I don't really think of. It's not like I'm doing this to be a podcaster. I'm doing this because I want to learn it and enjoy it so much.
You
and
definitely have unique intentions. Yeah. But I mean, well, I guess I could do some small talk. Why not?
It's up to you.
I mean, I might as well. I want to see where this goes. I'm curious.
Okay.
Do you know battle bots?
The mechanical ones they used to be on Comedy Central, I think, and
actually, those
ones that they fight.
Yeah, they fight.
And then the remote controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to this event near me, 2 hours away in Connecticut. I think it's called National Havoc Robot League. It's kind of like BattleBots. I think the same robots I think that are on BattleBots are in this. But yeah, and I just took a bunch of pictures and videos. I actually ended up going I only showed up at the last hour because I slept in, and then I also crashed my car. But yeah, it was still interesting. Wasn't really fully present enough to enjoy anything all that much. But
was the car wreck bad?
Not really. Okay. It was my fault.
Okay,
100%. But Like,
I'm holding back any BattleBots jokes about.
Yeah, I was too busy playing bumper cars, you know. But yeah, it was just interesting to see. Like when I was younger, I was with like my sister, my older sister. I was kind of like on this like robotics team in was it middle school? Yeah, wait. Sorry, like middle school, high school is like a blur. It's like it's like one of two. Was it high school? Yeah, it was high school. It was high school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and that's kind of like this thing called like we did this thing called like First Tech Challenge. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
It's just like it's like they use like a lot less powerful motors than the ones that they use for like BattleBots or
right.
The thing that I went to. But yeah, like I heard it's like over like 3 times like the motors that they use for like I guess it's called combat robotics, which is the stuff that I went to. They use like 3 times the motors as like First Tech Challenge. So I was like, that's crazy.
So did you build one?
I never built like a BattleBot or anything like that, but I did like help build like a robot, which for like First Tech Challenge, which is more. It's more like, oh, like get your robot to like pick up these blocks and bring them to this area to like score points, nice. Or like get them to collect these balls and to like score points and like that kind of thing. And like like bonus points if you can like raise this flag at the end or something. So it's more like that than it is about like destroying your opponent.
I was gonna say, I think it would be pretty sad to build a robot and then have it get destroyed. By someone else and be like, okay, I guess we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that was like one of the first times where I was like, school might be interesting. Like,
yeah, they tease you with, here's the one elective that you don't hate. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
sorry, I have all my
exactly. I actually really like that teacher too.
Yeah.
I liked her in like a lot of the classes that she put on, but
if we take this away, they will burn the school down.
Yeah, and then I think on like the robotics team, I definitely wasn't like my role. I ended up being more like I was really good at CAD. Like I was really good at computer-aided design.
Okay.
I actually ended up cheating for that class with that teacher, but I still was pretty good. Like I was still like decent at computer design despite me cheating all the time. But because like I figured out that all of like the Finnish like STLs and stuff were like already like preloaded into the computer. So I would just like look at them and then I'd be like, oh, that's how you do it. And then I'd like figure it out. But yeah, like I'd like go online and I'd look up, oh, like how do you make this in, I think it was the software was called like SolidWorks, which is like professional grade like CAD stuff. And I would like be like, okay, how do you make a Lego? I remember this one because I like physically printed it out, right? And I think because of like grants and stuff, like my school got what is it called? What is it? MakerBot. There we go. For whatever reason, I feel like those were like the easiest to get. But yeah, we had a MakerBot, which is like half decent. For what
I don't know what that is.
It's like it's a 3D printer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of looks like a carved out box. Where like the innermost the inner squares, like the inside of the squares are like cut out, if that makes sense. But it's like
cheap. I've never played with any 3D printing. I've only seen a few videos, so I don't really have much.
Yeah, I mean, the sounds that they make are like super cool, especially if you're into like EDM. But
yeah,
besides the point. And yeah, like you can like orient it in different ways. And so like I would like maybe like orient into the Lego that I designed through YouTube, which I just pretty much follow the instructions. And I just orient it onto the side, and then it would like print it, and it would take however long that would be, maybe like 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. I don't remember how much it took, but and then like you would print it, but because of like how I oriented it, it would like there's like pieces on the Lego. I don't remember like what it's made out of. Maybe it's like PLA, but and like it kind of comes with like a little bit of like structures that like fall apart. Like you peel them apart, or you can take them off, like the actual Lego, but they're like there to like support the Lego physically when it's like getting like when the PLA is getting like laid on top of each other.
Okay.
And so like I would like remove it, and it would like snap wrong, and it would like ruin the Lego, and I'd be like, oh my god, and then I have to do it again, or like it would just look super ugly and like not right, and I'd have to like change it, or like change the orientation to be like, maybe it's better like this way, and I can never really get it exact, but it did. And then like obviously I had Legos at home, so I'd be like, oh, like maybe it'll fit, and it like it almost fit, but it didn't. But I'm sure like if I printed out like another 3D printed one, it would probably fit. But I don't know. It was just like a lot of dealing with like very frustrating slight imperfections. But no, I loved like 3D printing. I loved like just the idea of it, and like the concept of like, oh, you can like make all that cool stuff. Of course, now they got more advanced stuff, like or like more advanced or more interesting 3D printers where you can like print out food or like human body parts or whatever.
Right. Yeah, quite a bit more advanced.
Yeah. Like the food stuff, that's crazy. Like printing out like a little dessert. I think that's really cool. It's kind of weird though. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the one that has to clean that machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm kind of like imagining like McDonald's with like a little 3D printing like Wendy's with a little 3D printing like frosty machine or something, you know. But yeah, so I just really like that. And that was kind of like my role in the robotics team, was like, I guess, be in charge of 3D printing, which was really funny because we never ended up using it. So I just kind of helped out on like just building it and like that kind of stuff. Nice. Like physically, like, you know, screwing stuff together, etc. And also like our team was just an after school activity compared to like people that had like, I don't know, more funding for their school. Like they had like an entire class, and so there'd be like more people there, and they'd have more time to like work on their stuff. And like they just had such like great like group cohesion and like teamwork and like communication and strategy. And we were just a mess. But it was still fun, like to show up to the events and stuff. And you know, participate. I think our robot name was at the time was like Murphy's Law, which we thought was funny at the time. But yeah, it was just a grand old time.
Sweet.
I know that they also have like first FRC or first robotics challenge. I don't know what that one involves, but I guess it's like more advanced. And then of course you got the combat robotics type stuff, which is, I don't know, crazy. Like I think I remember seeing some episode on like one of those like Law and Order or like crime type shows, like NCIS or like Law and Order, where there's like this rogue combat like robot and it like cuts someone's leg or something, and I was like, wow. That's crazy. But yeah, I just really liked robotics at the time. I think when I was in like junior year of high school, when like very naive about a lot of things, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to college and I'm gonna be a like robot mechanic, or what is it called?
Yeah.
whatever. What's there's like a name for it?
Technician? I don't know.
Yeah.
Roboticist.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, like because that sounds cool, right? Um, but then I don't know. Then like my mind starts thinking about it, and I'm like, but then I gotta like do what other people want.
Yeah.
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 Uncomfortable feeling.
Oh no, I mean, it's all welcome here. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or like I'd be like, oh, like I want to be like an electronic, like an electrician or like an electronical engineer or something. I don't know. Like when I was even like younger than that, like there was, Radio Shack, right?
Mhm.
How it went out of business and that stuff. There was like a Radio Shack near me, and I just go there and I just look at all this stuff, and I'd be like, ooh, Arduino, like this looks cool, like microcontroller type stuff.
Yeah.
And I was always like, I could buy this, but I have no idea what I do with it. Like, I don't know how this works. I don't know anything. All I have is YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't have anyone I can talk to about this kind of stuff because I don't know anyone that's interested in it. No.
Well, especially, considering your age, considering how new all this shit is, it's kind of like,
yeah.
How many people in the world know what an Arduino is, right?
Exactly. I mean, I didn't really know it at the time, but I'm sure I probably could have went to like a maker space and like figured it out, But or I could have like, I don't know, found one of these like combat robot places and like connected with people that were probably into the same type of stuff. But yeah, no, like I'd just be like, this is so cool. Like I could make, I don't know, like I could make like a little, what is it called? Like carbon monoxide detecting robot or something, like I could use this sensor. I could do all these things. And even when I was younger than that, and I don't know, like this is like a really weird connection, but on Wikipedia, I found this like entry for like adopted child syndrome or something, and which was like a derogatory term. And it's like describing this like unique behavior that some adopted children like I think the word is illicit, like do. And like one of that, like some of it was like, oh, like kleptomania, or like I want to say one of them was like mixing chemicals together, or like other stuff that like I personally have noticed that me and my siblings have like gotten into when we were younger, like very, very young. And I was like, that's really weird.
Were you adopted?
Fits. Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot that I didn't mention that. Sorry. Yeah. And
I'm curious how old you were when you were adopted.
Yeah, I was 3 days old.
Okay.
My parents were like drug addicts, so that's why I was adopted.
Huh.
Yeah. But
and you have siblings, and they were also adopted. Were they from the same family?
Yeah, I've got two siblings that I grew up with that were one of them is like I think my half sister, and then like the other one is like full like same mom, same dad, and the other one is like same mom. And then I've also like met my biological mom and like 8 other sisters in person like 3 to 4 years ago. Which was really, really weird to like experience.
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
So you
mostly
have two. Go ahead.
Mostly for me, because like I don't really understand how to like deal with other people's expectations about like how they want this to go down, and like what they're like, what I sense that they're like expecting of me, and like relationship wise.
Well, yeah, I mean,
a lot to like process.
That's a hell of a lot. There's definitely not a manual for that, especially from the child's side. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah, I kind of like made some people a little bit angry because like I wouldn't like fully commit one way or another. I'd be like, yeah, we'll do this, and then I'd be like, never mind.
Yeah, and that was like 4 years ago, you said. Was that like 4 years ago, you said?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago, we like met up or something.
Wow.
Very weird. Like my mom seemed very like ADHD, which was interesting to see. Like,
yeah.
She's like 3 to 5 years clean, I think.
It's very heritable. It's very comorbid with drug addiction, right? And other just
yeah.
I mean, that's the people who are in our prison system, I think, is people with ADHD largely.
Yeah, and then my dad, like he's currently, I think, he's like currently in prison for something. I don't even remember what it was, but he's in prison. Yeah.
And it's very heritable, right? Like ADHD is super heritable. So yeah, there's, I don't know, one in two chance of a parent passing it on or something very high like that.
Yeah, I actually get like full psychological testing on like the 30th because I want to, obviously I don't want to suffer. But like, yeah.
I thought, and remind me, I thought that you had already been tested and confirmed with yourself that you had ADHD. Or am I making that up?
No, yeah. I mean, like I definitely had like a lot of like acceptance issues around it. Like, like if I want to,
but you were diagnosed as a kid, right?
I was diagnosed at 5, and then like I, like maybe at like 7, I'd get curious after being forced to take a pill every single day. Of like,
me too.
Who am I if I don't take the pill? Right? Like,
me too.
Like that's a solid thought. Like, and so I wouldn't take the pill, and then like I would instantly be reminded of why I take the pill.
Hey, at least you were aware of it. I mean, I couldn't tell the difference. Only everyone around me could.
Yeah, I mean that's how it was when I got older, though. And then like I really started to think that they were like psychologically like manipulating me. Honestly, like I was like, there's no way. Like there's no like. That's how I really got like a huge distrust of like psychiatry and like medicine and like my parents and stuff.
And I mean, I hear you and I believe you. And also that's also kind of a symptom of ADHD is having that general distrust of authority and pushing back, the kind of next level of ADHD when you got it bad is like called oppositional defiant disorder, where it's like, okay, this is super ADHD and it presents as don't ever fucking tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And higher criminality and really bucking the system.
Yeah.
I think of any system, any authority.
That's really interesting that you mentioned the OPDD thing or whatever. But like I've also heard of this thing. I feel like it was like connected to autism, but it's called like what is it called? Like demand, there's like I think it's like demand avoidance something, where it's like it's like the same thing, but it's like supposedly connected to autism. But I'm like, isn't that everyone? It's kind of like that thing where like someone's like, oh, do this thing, and then like you suddenly don't want to do the thing anymore. Like I feel like that's normal.
and it is normal. And I think that my understanding of ADHD and autism both is that everybody has not a touch of it. That I know that that's not accurate, but we all have kind of are on a spectrum. Our behaviors are on a spectrum of more and less autism-y like things and more and less ADHD like things. And so that's my understanding, is that to have autism or to have ADHD from the outside just means you do more of those things. You express those things more. I know that there's also physiological stuff. I'm not just saying like, oh, you're just weird. You're just doing weirder, different behaviors, but that those same behaviors or patterns or drives are in neurotypical people's systems too. They're just better suppressed, or they're doing them behind closed doors or whatever. They have so yeah, everybody has "don't fuck with me" somewhere in them. You know what I mean? Like,
someone's got a line, yeah. That's funny.
But my understanding, at least with ADHD, is that like we have less of the frontal cortex suppression, inhibition of that emotional expression and that just base animal kind of stuff. And it's like, nope, I'm gonna do what I want. Like, and it might lead me into be in prison, and it might. Maybe I can't have any friends, and that's like there's all kinds of downsides to that.
Interesting that you say that, because when I was 5 or like 6, like I think like my biggest fear was like going into prison.
Yeah.
This is really weird to say, but like, I don't know. Like, whenever I was like wrongly accused by my parents, like I would get so pissed because it's like, I understand if I did the thing, like that's fine, you got me. But if I didn't do the thing and you think I did the thing, now we have a problem because that's messed up and that's wrong.
And that's also normal. And my understanding again of ADHD, that's also right there on the checklist. I probably listed it last time I was in Discord talking about ADHD. I probably made that one of the notes of like, do you have a really strong sense of like fairness and justice, and like when someone cheats you or they don't believe you or you know, and you feel like they've accused you of something you didn't do, like that is it's so hard to forgive, so hard to look past for me, like, for people I know with ADHD. It's like
like even now, like if I was like falsely accused by someone about something, which I guess would be a bigger deal now that I'm like an adult, but like not like that person would probably be dead to me. Like I probably would never talk to them again. Yeah,
or if you're like me, you'll just like ruminate on it forever. It's like, I can remember everyone who ever did anything, like stab me in the back, or
I can probably make that list too. But I think I'm kind of over the rumination bit though. Thank God.
That took work for me. Took work for me for sure.
Yeah. We really like cascaded through the topics here. We went from like robots to ADHD, autism, and prison.
Well, I've also had my IFS parts detection hat on secretly this whole time. So I feel like I could go through the things we've already talked about and pull out what I have heard as what I'm thinking sounded like parts.
Honestly, that would be great because I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time like coming up with something.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll just name what I hear and do it. We can do with that information whatever we want. So I have like a few lines of notes. So I'm just gonna look through them and I'm gonna say like, I heard you say this. That sounded kind of like a part. I heard you say that. Okay.
Sounds good.
So the first thing I noticed, you said I really liked robotics, and you used the past tense, and it sounded like you had this kind of there's some emotion to that. It's not just like you think they're neat, but there's a part of you that has this passion and also sees this as like a past tense thing, and maybe there's some other stuff, maybe there's some sorrow over I don't like it anymore, or I haven't done that or whatever. I'm just speculating there. Then immediately there was another, almost the next thing you said was, and I was very naive and I thought I would go to college and become a roboticist. So it sounds to me like that's another part saying it's naive, it's wrong of me, it's wrong of this other part, or something. It's kind of a judgment, right? So that to me just tells me that's probably a part. Let's see, you started talking about adopted child syndrome, like why was that on your mind? That's just a curiosity of mine. Like why did you go into talking about kleptomania? Is there a part that has some thoughts and feelings about who am I, because of my adoption? Does that lead me to be a certain way? It could just doesn't necessarily have to be a part. It could just be a thought. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounded like a part that was saying, I don't know how to deal with expectations and with others' expectations. I think that was a theme that came up in our at least one of our other conversations about like, what do they want from me? How can I make these people happy? And how am I supposed to know? And I can't ask for help. And so that to me sounded like it could be connected to a part.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two more. Let's see. I can't read half my handwriting, so there's that problem. And then there's all that kind of ADHD stuff of, are those parts of saying like, I'm being manipulated and I'm, outraged. I'm upset about that. Is that part stuff? I don't know. It could, who knows?
Yeah. So am I supposed to like pick one from that list or?
No, I mean, we can do whatever we want with that. Did any of them sound like interesting things you'd like to explore more?
Well, I'd like to say that like I personally was actually, that's not true. I I did steal a few things when I was younger, but I don't think it was ever from like a kleptomania. Like, well, maybe it was, but like I kind of noticed way before both of my sisters, like, this is wrong. Like, and I just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of continued for a bit. And then one continued for a while. But and then I think I also mentioned like chemicals and like, yeah, like for whatever reason, like me and my siblings, we all mixed like chemicals that we just found in this like the
that was another part I thought I heard when you said mixing chemicals.
Is obviously dangerous, but
when you said mixing chemicals, it sounded like there was a kind of a smirk, kind of like you had this kind of, it sounded like you were kind of smiling as you said mixing chemicals, and that also made me think, man, I wonder if there's a part in there that has some emotional. I know that this is, some people would think this is bad, but I like doing this thing and I like tinkering, even though there's a little danger or something. I wondered if there was a part in there. That was one that
there's definitely
that I didn't name.
That loves experimentation.
Yeah.
Well, that's so interesting that you said like you heard a smirk.
Sure.
You can hear smirks.
I think I have a highly tuned ear. I think it's one of the reasons I love podcasting, and I'm a musician, and
I am a smirker.
I don't watch any like TV or movies or anything. Like I just listen to podcasts and music all day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, I also think that it's one of the benefits of having this without video is that I can be fully listening to just your tone of voice. I'm missing all the things that might be going on your face, but a lot of times for me that's overwhelming, and I'm actually picking up more on just on tone.
I have also like kind of like fell down a little rabbit hole of like biohacking, not like the kind where like they're like taking like nootropics or whatever, but like they're like putting stuff into their body that are like technological. Okay. I always thought that was like, I was like, that's cool. Which I know is not how everyone would react to that, but I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that's cool. And I think there's like a few companies that did some interesting stuff with like, I think there's this thing called like Norsense, which was still a tech thing. I don't like how it was like connected to the body. It was like weird. It was like placed on the chest. And it would like vibrate whenever you were facing like magnetic north. And like the concept was that like your body would like become one with the sense of like, oh, like this is north. And I just thought that was
I heard about that.
I just thought that was super cool. I was like, oh, I kind of like this human augmentation type stuff. Yeah. Like I feel like if I had the opportunity to experiment on myself with like a cool technology that would give me an extra sense, I don't think I would hesitate.
Yeah.
But I know that's a very unique part.
Yeah, no. But it loves to experiment.
It really does, especially like on me, which is weird, but like, yeah.
Well, you're in the right place. I mean, that's what we're doing here. And so I think that goes for anybody who calls me more than once.
Maybe this is my self-experimenter part, reaching out to you.
Yeah, welcome.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm ready to start a session. I don't know what part to pick or deal with, but we'll see where it goes.
So any part that's up for you right now, any part that feels most present, most needs your attention.
I think there's a part of me that just really likes to laugh.
Yeah. It's a good one.
It always comes up during this. Whatever reason, I always end up laughing.
Is there more you wanted to get to know about that part or change your relationship in any way or explore it?
I guess explore it works, but I don't know. Okay. I don't feel like it's a problem.
Well, great. I mean, they're ultimately none of them are problems. I think ultimately they're all on our side in some way, but
enjoy this one.
Yeah, we could explore that. Because enjoying it can also be a hazard, you know. Well, overly enjoying any part, and if it takes you over, is also not self-leadership. Even if that part is pro-social, is
right,
is
like
cool and charismatic or whatever.
I've definitely gotten like slightly socially in trouble for like giving the wrong emotional reaction to what someone says.
Sure.
And then like catching myself like 0.2 seconds after, and then being like, oh no.
And does the laughter come in after the catch, or is the laughter the problem that got you in trouble in the first place with them?
I'd probably say laughter is probably the problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And probably just not being like fully present, and just like, or like them saying something maybe like normally that's like conventionally like sad, or like, oh, like kind of like, oh, like poor you, let me like comfort you, and then like I'll just like, I don't know, like
you'll find something funny, or at least this part finds something funny somewhere in the room, and or with that experience.
Maybe it just finds it funny that like I'm being asked to comfort someone, which is something I'm
or
not
funny in yourself
doing at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you to look at me in this way?
Yeah. So who's saying that? What part is saying, who are you to look at me this way? That's the laughing part.
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's maybe there's some discomfort there, or at least some confusion or not quite understanding that's tied in with that.
I think that's accurate. Like confusion around how am I, quote unquote, supposed to act in this situation.
Yeah.
From a place that's like actually genuine, because if it's not genuine, I honestly don't really want to do it. Like I'd rather leave if I can.
And does that all make sense to you?
Yeah.
Me too.
But it's mostly, I want to say it's because I'm like a little bit scared that like my lack of genuine concern or emotionality will be detected.
And then what would happen? What's the fear behind that?
I guess the fear is like less people will associate with me, or like I'll be excluded, or
you'll be exiled.
Someone will like, I don't know.
Right? You'll be exiled. You'll excluded.
Call me like a monster, or like some kind of equivalent, or like, I don't know. I feel like people that kind of get like detected or like called as like having no empathy or less empathy are kind of like demonized by society, when I don't think it's necessarily that bad.
Well, it can be, right?
What do you mean?
Well, there are people burned at the stake. There are people who are
I thought you meant like
from
having not having like that much empathy was like that bad or something. But
no, yeah, I'm saying that if the tribe says, hey, you're a problem, that can be a death sentence.
Yeah. Also, that's a pretty big concern there. Yeah.
So does that all make sense to you?
Yeah.
That there's a part that has the laughter, but then there's also this fear of being excluded that might be kind of behind that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also feel like the laughter really comes up a lot in like intimate moments where I'm like with someone or something, and I'm like, this is a new experience for me, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And then like I try to like really vocalize that. Yeah. And like lean into it. And usually it goes pretty well.
And is the fear also the same, that if I get this wrong, I'm excluded, rejected?
I think the fear around that is like this concept of like there being rules that I'm not able to see, or like there being like this social thing that I'm gonna like violate, and then like, oh, you're bad. Oh, like you're like a terrible person because you didn't do this thing. This like relationship rule, this thing.
A fear of your own blindness or handicap around this, what these rules are, and other people seem to get it, but I don't seem to get it. And if I don't get it, that's a problem.
Yeah, like I can't see what I can't see, and I can't ask what I don't know to ask.
Yeah. So can you turn to this part and let it know that this makes sense to you?
Yes.
And maybe even try showing it appreciation for wanting to protect you. Let's say the laughter wants to protect you from that feeling of I'm going to be excluded.
Yeah. Why is the laughter so fun though? Like, I wouldn't think it would be. Like, I think
no, parts don't have to all be a bummer. I mean, I was an alcoholic for a long time.
Really
I had a lot of fun.
Firefighter.
I had a lot of fun drinking and being in a rock and roll band. Like, it was fun stuff. It was, you know.
So like the laughter is like a really efficient firefighter, basically.
Could be that could be one way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, it works really, really, really well.
Yeah. and it's generally socially acceptable, right? Like, hey, of all the quote defense mechanisms, like,
yeah, I mean, I guess there is kind of like that fear of like, laughing during the wrong moment.
Right.
Like I'm gonna explain that, but I don't think that would be that bad necessarily.
Yeah.
But like,
so you showed the laughter some appreciation. Did it receive that?
Yeah.
And you could try asking the laughter how old it thinks that you are.
Okay. 8.
Okay. Do you know why that number came up? Do you see anything? Is it showing you anything about the age 8 when laughter might have?
I don't know. I definitely laughed a lot. I was actually like a very,
Just see if the part has anything it wants to show you. Like, ask it, why 8? What is it? Is there something it wants to show you? And if not, that's fine. Check with it.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't really see anything. Nothing much just coming up.
That's fine.
Could it be like a visual?
It could be a visual. A lot of times it's a visual memory.
A big grin.
A big grin. And if you update it on your real age, how does it respond to that?
With laughter.
Yeah. Does it believe you?
Yeah.
Would it like to? Is there anything in its role, in its job as a protector, and its job as laughter? Is there anything it would like to be doing differently? Especially given your real age? Some way it would rather use its energy?
Laughing more, being humorous.
Mm-hmm. And how about in its relationship with you? Now that it realizes you're an older age, is there anything it would like differently in your relationship with it than when you were 8?
No.
Are there any other parts that it has a big problem with and it wants to ask for you to help it out with? Parts that get in its way, parts that it has to manage or protect, parts that beat it up or judge it.
I don't think so.
Okay. That would surprise me if that was, and I'm not, it would surprise me for a part to be kind of unhindered by any others. So, but I'm also not saying that's wrong or anything like that.
Yeah.
Usually where there's one, there's 3. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything you would like to offer this part or request of it any way that you'd like to just suggest how the relationship might change.
Can you say that in a different way?
Is there something that you'd like differently in your relationship with this part?
Okay. Not really. I feel like it's perfect.
It's perfect in who it is, or it's perfect in its role is always, it's always appropriate.
In what it is.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I think it's perfect too. I think parts are perfect. Fundamentally. But that doesn't mean that we love how they show up or they can't get us in trouble, right?
Yeah.
So, and how does it like being in the spotlight with you in this conversation?
It enjoys the attention.
Awesome. Any other curiosities that you have about it or want to ask of it? Anything else to brainstorm with it or?
Actually something does come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that this is connected to me having a habit of not taking a lot of things seriously. That should be probably taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
That I just find funny in like a nervous way of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to deal with this, so I'm just gonna laugh because I don't know what to do.
I get it. Mm-hmm. So that could be
And then
one of those
like
things that you and this part work on or
yeah,
work,
I think it kind of might come up with when people are
towards.
like, oh, can you be more serious about this?
Right.
And then I'm like, dang it, yeah, I probably should be more serious about this.
Right.
And then it's kind of like, but I can't because I don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah. So see if you can just putting that in parts language again. I would say you have a part that says, "Don't be serious."
Mm-hmm.
Laughing is a solution here, and we like it. And then you have another part that says, I should be more serious." And so to me, that sounds like the polarity between what I would assume are two protectors.
Yeah.
Who both have a very important job. They both have something they want for you. Be serious and also be bright and laughy.
Yeah. I don't really think being serious like necessarily leads to action with me. Like most of the time it's just me having serious thoughts of like, this is important. But yeah, it usually doesn't really lead to like
Can you access the serious part, and can you ask it how it feels about its relationship with you?
yeah.
Does
It
it
just
also feel like you think it's perfect?
it just doesn't want anything terrible to happen to me or for me to like live terribly bad existence.
And would a terribly bad existence be kind of one and the same with the fear of being excluded?
Huh?
Is that just like the fear of being excluded, or is the terribly bad existence a different kind of fear?
different kind of fear.
Mm-hmm. And is it willing to show you more about what that fear looks like? Like if you ask, like, okay, what is terribly bad existence? What's the pain there? What does that mean? What does that look like?
It feels like I already know what that is. Is that like a valid answer?
Yeah, that's the whole point. The whole point is for you to come to know what it is and what your parts are experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does it make sense to you?
Yes.
Great. And do you have appreciation for this part?
Yeah.
Show it that.
Okay.
Do you also see it as perfect?
No, not really.
Okay. All right. You could ask it about that, or you could just let it know that you notice that you notice that you have an affinity for some parts more than others, or an appreciation or a view about them, and that you might just let it know that you see how it's been on the receiving end of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be something that could change if you and this part are wanting to get more in that kind of space.
Mm-hmm. Could there be like a part of me that thinks that nothing bad can actually happen to me because I'm me? Like, does that make sense?
That sounds like self if I ever heard it.
Really?
Yep.
You're kidding.
No, that to me sounds like you just put self in a sentence. Self is, I hate to use the word eternal. Self is there. It's consistent. It's in us all. It can't be damaged. And it's right. Only
Why
these
do
parts.
I really feel like that's not self?
Why do you feel like it's not self?
Yes.
Well, it might not have been coming from a place of self, but it certainly would apply.
I feel like it's more a place, like I feel like it's more connected to like disconnection and apathy than like self.
Okay. It could be. I'm just saying that the description would also apply to self as being one who is basically unafraid.
No, this is I mean I mean I don't know, maybe, but like this is more like oh, but like if I don't do these things that will like I don't know, keep me alive or whatever, like I'll still be fine because I'm me. Or like like I don't know, it's I feel like it's weird,
kind of maybe
kind of like
kind of a feeling like these rules don't actually apply to me, and
like
maybe it is okay that I'm ignoring them or breaking them.
I mean, it's not, but like yeah, well, I guess it is. Like
some of them it is, right?
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Like it's because like that part as like I feel like I remember that part being there like since I was like 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like that's kind of like how I saw like the world is like, which is weird because I feel like I was a very fearful kid, but like
right. Well, you had your reasons to be fearful, and you also have this understanding or this other part that has this view of maybe the rules don't actually need to apply to me.
I feel like that gets me into like trouble with like
of course
reality though, because
society.
Then I'm not like doing the things that would like make me better or feel better or live better, because why does it matter? I am going to be fine regardless.
Yeah. And so that can be including in your own kind of self-care and self-work is like, I'll just use myself again as the example of like, yeah, me too. That's why I can drink all day because I'm going to be fine. It's like, well, no, I'm killing myself, but but I have this part saying, oh, those rules don't apply to me.
Yeah. Maybe it's really like this like psychological like boundary we all have where it's like we can't really feel like the full terror of like what we're doing to
the
ourselves.
Weight of the gravity of our
situation,
existence, and how everything we touch ripples out through the entire universe. Yeah.
I feel like that's basically what it is.
Sure, makes sense to me.
I don't know. I always thought that this part was like really like, I don't know. Maybe I kind of thought that like only I had this part because I feel like it makes me act a certain way or interact with the world in a certain way. And I just don't feel like other people do that. But maybe that's like an illusion or something. I don't know.
Yours might be stronger than others. Others might be suppressed, I imagine. And we could get feedback if we decided to share this conversation. I bet we could get feedback of 9 out of 10 or more people saying, yeah, I got that. Maybe it's not quite as bold, or maybe it's exiled, or maybe I handle it a different way.
I think it's also connected to this thought, which I definitely realized was like very dangerous thought to buy into. But it was always like, yeah, we got to do this thing. And it's like, oh, what would happen if I didn't do this thing? And I'd like listen to that voice and I'd be like, you know what? Let's see. Maybe that's procrastination or something. But like, I would always just be curious, like, what would my experience be like if I didn't do this thing?
Yeah, procrastination is the judgmental way of describing it, and curiosity is the positive way of describing it. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, like what would happen?
I'm curious to do. I'm an experimenter, and I'm curious, and I'm a scientist, and I'm interested, and I'm courageous. And you have another school of thought that like, no, you're an asshole, and you're and this is dangerous.
Like I'd be curious, like my parents would put a lot of pressure on me in school, like, oh, like this is super important. So like when you graduate and you go to college and blah, blah, it all matter.
And this voice is
saying, I'd be like, oh, okay. So like nothing matters until my senior year then.
Oh yeah.
Or like I'd make it so like I don't have to do anything until like the final step, because in my mind it doesn't really matter. And I always had the sense that school doesn't really matter. The grand scheme of things. But at the same time, I would like answer that with like doing nothing to prepare for the future. So it wasn't really like a good answer, a good response from me. Should have been like, I don't know, doing stuff on the side or planning, do my own type of learning and thing. But
well, you have a part that says you should have, and I'm sure you have other parts that say, well, yeah, easy for you to say now. But
that's
when
true.
When I was 13, what were really my options? What really could I do at that age? It's easy to look back and say, oh, I wish I exercised every day. I wish I did all this. It's like, well, it doesn't mean that in the moment I could have. Right. And again, that could be a parts exploration. It could be like, well, okay, part, there's this part saying I should have. Let's go meet that 13-year-old. What was it really like when I was making the decisions not to do a side hustle or do whatever I now have parts saying I should have.
Just overwhelmed by existence is pretty much the answer. But I forgot where we were going with this, but I feel like I don't know. I might have answered the question.
It has been an hour. I haven't eaten today, so I'm going to ask that we bring it to a close.
Okay.
I've enjoyed the conversation. And it sounds to me like we've highlighted at least 3 serious, parts that show up in you regularly, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 or more.
Right.
That we could use as a jumping off point next time we talk.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And if you wanted to make a note of that now and make that easier, feel free.
Okay.
Like I said, I got my page of notes, but it's hard for me to
read your own handwriting.
As I read that, but also if I have 6 different maybe parts on my list, that sometimes is not very helpful for where you actually want to go.
Okay.
So think about it, and let's do it again.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. All right, have a good night.
All right, good night.
Okay, bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world?
If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Jovan, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows? That might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.